I loaded a shotgun and racked it in an act of civil disobedience in order to bring attention to the idea that self-defense is a civil right and the government doesn't care about our rights. And, you know, I went to an event called 1 Million Moms for Gun Control. It was a few thousand. And I had a sign that said, you know, how will you take my guns away? I'm a gun owner, let's talk. And I feel a little naive in how this played out as someone who makes a living talking about the threat that government represents. And, you know, silly me, I expected that I might get a fair shot at a constitutional trial or you know, some absurd idea like that, when in reality this ended up leading to the second time they sent more men after me than bin Laden with the SWAT team raid on my home. Actually got one helicopter more than they sent after bin Laden as well, an armored vehicle, over 40 officers, and I ended up doing 4 months in jail, including 2 months in solitary confinement. So that's how they will take your guns away. That's what gun control looks like. And, you know, I definitely underestimated the cost to myself as a result of that civil disobedience, but by paying that cost, we raised a lot of awareness, we spread the message to a lot of people, and those people that are dealing with there got a heavy dose of it through local television, where they loved playing that 22-second video over and over every time I went to court.
We are the final American revolution.
I've matured in ways that I didn't think were possible from it over this past year, and it got a lot of meditation time in my government-induced, taxpayer-funded spiritual retreat. I'm moving to Los Angeles to relaunch Adam versus the Man, apply the lessons that I've learned the hard way over this past year. For anybody that wants to help, you know, I got out of jail and really was starting from scratch with everything that was stolen from me while I was in jail. And, you know, I had a lot of people stab me in the back while that was going on. So I'm starting from scratch here, and there are a lot of people helping me get back on my feet. And I really appreciate everybody who stood by me during this time. So AdamVersusTheMan.com. We need all the help we can get.
Symbols are powerful, and the globalists have hijacked the symbols of America. They've turned them into their own symbols. Well, we are restoring the idea of the true republic, not the counterfeit globalist empire, by promoting the icon George Washington and others. That's why we're rolling out an 100% made in America line of incredible pro-liberty apparel. We are repopularizing liberty. We are helping fellow Americans rediscover what made this country great. We are the spirit of 1776. We are 1776 worldwide. We are all brothers and sisters in arms in the animating contest of liberty in the long march towards humanity's ultimate destiny of freedom. Visit madein1776.com today and vote with your dollars to promote truly made in America, high-quality products, and promote the ideals of liberty. Alex Jones here to tell you about how you can help spread liberty worldwide while also enjoying what I have found to be the best tasting 100% organic coffee on the planet. For more than a decade, my favorite coffee has come from the high mountains of southern Mexico, where the Chiapas farmers grow their unique shade-grown Arabica beans. We have now managed to secure these sought-after beans in a highly customized blend. Discover and try a bag of the Patriot Blend 100% organic coffee at InfoWarsLife.com. This coffee gives you a long, smooth pick-me-up for hours without the headaches and heartburn that so many other coffees give me personally. Hands down, this is my favorite coffee, and it's taken us years to secure connections directly to the Chiapas Mexican farmers. Drop by the site today, order a bag or two, and I don't think you're going to be disappointed. Available in original or with our Immune Support Infusion Blend. You will be supporting a free press, all the while enjoying a truly great-tasting cup of my favorite coffee. Available at InfoWarsLife.com.
Well, this may seem like just a small local story, but it shows how the police themselves will suffer when the government's allowed to cut itself loose from the Constitution. And it shows how the mainstream media can make itself a tool of the government to crucify those the government doesn't like. We all know how abusive and vindictive the TSA can be. We've seen this released in recent news articles. But the key question here is, was the TSA able to get an entire small-town police department disbanded and its police chief put on leave? We reported 5 days after the chief was placed on leave. 4 days after our report, KOTA Channel 7, the ABC Disney affiliate in Albuquerque, ran a report that completely changed the timeline of events and made false allegations about the chief.
Chief Harger was stopped by TSA and questioned about his 2 IDs. At the convention, he spoke with an internet talk show host. The story grew on the web, but it caused Sandoval County to do some digging. The sheriff revoked Harger's authority to do law enforcement in the rest of the county outside of the village.
Let's take these in reverse order. I verified with Sheriff Mack, who runs the CSPOA and presided over the convention, that there were no internet interviews at the convention. I also verified that the earliest report from Vincent Finelli was 4 days after the chief was placed on leave. So the sheriff didn't learn of the incident from the internet.
Unethical, unconstitutional TSA agent. He made the statement to me, I know people in your district, and I'm going to make some phone calls. Well, he lived up to his word.
Chief Harger has just obtained this security footage.
All your stuff checked in?
Yes,
Mind
sir.
if I take a look at your ID real quick?
No, not at all.
Okay. You guys didn't go to any other ticket counters?
You guys go to the checkpoint already?
Did you go up to
Yeah, we went to a checkpoint. Went to the TSA. Yes, sir. All I said was, I have a ticket under Shane Harger. My driver's license for that name is expired. Will they still let me fly? They said, go talk to TSA. So I asked for a supervisor, not a rookie, and talked to the supervisor and said, here's the deal. I have 2 different applications because of the nature of what I do for a living. My ticket is under Shane Harger. What do I need to do? And I said, no, as long as you've got information for Shane Harger, you're good. So we came here and got our ticket, and we were confined by
But later he was approached by a man in plain clothes who identified himself only as a federal agent.
And so he demands to see identification, and I tell him, we've already been through this. I've already presented my identification at least 3 times to various officials. What's going on? And he told me that I was a person of interest, that I was listed as being suspicious. So I comply. I give him my credentials. I finally just asserted my First Amendment rights, my Fourth Amendment rights, and it really upset him. You could see it in his demeanor. Ultimately, I gave him a scenario. I said, sir, the way you're treating me, I said, how would you like it if I were to treat you that way?
When the chief returned, his entire police department was disbanded, and he was put on administrative leave even though just 2 days before he left, he had been given a meritorious commendation by the mayor. The sequence of events reported by KOTA is false. But the real thrust of their report is to attack the police chief for having 2 names.
The police chief with 2 identities goes before his village council tonight.
Leaders in Jemez Springs insist they are perfectly happy with Shane Harger, but others still have questions about a man with 2 names.
Some are happy, but others have questions. Must be something shady. Their spin is that this is a case about a police chief with 2 names, and just so you don't miss the point, they leave it up throughout the entire report on the lower thirds. KOTA does briefly mention why Chief Harger has 2 names.
I have a valid driver's license under Braxton Hayes. That is true.
An identity he says he assumed following his interview in the Levi Chavez case.
It was done lawfully and legally.
Chief Harger's role in the Levi Chavez case, where another cop was charged with murder, was much more than just an interview. It sheds light on why he would have 2 names, and it also sheds light on his character. Levi Chavez was a cop who said his wife committed suicide using his service revolver. Shane Harger was a deputy and first on the scene. There were several things that led him to believe that it was not a suicide, but a possible homicide. And then Chavez's police friends showed up, out of their jurisdiction, and started destroying evidence.
According to the deposition, Deputy Shane Harger said he was appalled when he was told by an APD lieutenant he was going to cut up and remove bloody sheets. Harger said in the deposition, quote, I was appalled that a lieutenant of a renowned agency as Albuquerque Police Department would even consider entering a homicide scene out of his jurisdiction, let alone remove evidence.
That was a report at the time of the trial from another Albuquerque TV station, KOB Channel 4. But KOTA Channel 7, that is now attacking Chief Harger, reported a police lieutenant suspiciously destroying evidence this way at the time.
But when O'Connell saw the bloody bedding and mattress, he asked and got the okay from the Valencia County Sheriff's Office to clean it up. He became a little emotional when he explained why.
I had a personal experience with suicide in our family.
You can tell that was pretty difficult for Lieutenant O'Connell to say again.
So Lieutenant, who should know better and who's out of his jurisdiction, calls and gets permission to destroy evidence, and it just so happens that the suspect is a friend and fellow cop, and KOTA has no questions about that? The suspect's uncle, Robert Chavez, was a sheriff. Shane Harger was offered a job and accepted, not knowing that they were related. The murder suspect's father, Levi Chavez Sr., also worked for Robert Chavez and allegedly approached Shane Harger to give favorable testimony about his son. When you look at what came to light during the investigation, the destroyed evidence, the alleged car theft ring being run by the Chavez law enforcement family, and the multiple suicides of people involved with the Chavez family cops that were killed with police service revolvers belonging to the Chavez family members, it appears that Shane Harger had very good reason to fear for his life. KOTA Channel 7 also takes a cheap shot at the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association.
We were wondering if it wasn't akin to going to a Tea Party meeting.
The CSPOA is not the Tea Party. It's not partisan. It's an organization that is there to get sheriffs and police officers to think about their obligations under the Constitution. And that's something that's apparently a big problem in New Mexico. Just look at these recent headlines from just the last 3 months. A cop shooting up a minivan full of kids. A man doesn't come to a complete stop, and the cops force him to undergo enemas, x-rays, and 8 anal probes. A woman has her genitals sprayed with mace by a cop. You would think that New Mexico would be applauding that someone in law enforcement was concerned about the police staying within the bounds of the law and the Constitution. The media and law enforcement routinely excuse the behavior of cops who abuse citizens, even kill them if they merely feel threatened. But if a cop like Chief Harger gets death threats because he's testifying against another cop, he's somehow bad if he legally gets another name to protect himself? While KOTA attacks him, they're ignoring some very serious questions that affect us all. Was he targeted by the surveillance state because he's going to a constitutional sheriff's meeting? Was the department targeted for vindictive retaliation from the TSA because the police chief stood up to them violating his Fourth Amendment rights? Those are questions that concern us all, but don't expect mainstream media to ask them.
Now you can watch The Alex Jones Show live as it happens at INFOWARS.com/show.
You'll find links to all of our content there and a free 15-day trial for Prison Planet TV.
More than 60 movies and documentaries all in one place at INFOWARS.com/show.